It finally happened. I've got some death-head hawk moth caterpillars for the first time in absolutely ages. For those who don't know, for the past year and a half, 2 years, I've had nothing but problems with raising death-head hawk moths. Every time I've had caterpillars, they've got an infection and they've all ended up dying, sadly. And so to get them again, it's actually really nerve-wracking. I didn't realise, but stock that I was getting before was already infected. Anyway, let's try it again, and fingers crossed we can be successful. Put these caterpillars straight into a pop-up net so they've got plenty of ventilation, and I'll check on them twice a day to make sure there's no signs of infection and to make sure they're all looking healthy. I'm raising these caterpillars on privet because it's easy to get hold of. There's so many bushes around near me. I just keep the privet in a little jar like this with water to keep it a little bit fresher. Some signs that the caterpillars are healthy is plenty of frass on the bottom of the enclosure, which is caterpillar poo essentially. Caterpillars spend most of their lives eating, and so if you're seeing lots of caterpillar poo, it usually means they're eating really well. Just make sure that the leaves that you're putting in are fresh and they're not dried out or brown. Caterpillars will shed around 5 times before they're big enough for the final stage. This one's just freshly molted. You see its exoskeleton still stuck on the actual stick. Each stage between molts is called the instar, and when you hear people saying things like the caterpillar's at stage L5, all it means is that the caterpillar's had 5 molts, and the L stands for a larvae stage. If you want to find out what signs to look for a sick caterpillar, just check this video above. So far though, these ones all look pretty healthy to me. One sign that I've noticed over the years of this happening though is, can you see the blue stripe that they've got going down the back of the body? It can sometimes turn a pinky purple colour. Usually that's a sign of infection. It's been a few weeks since I got the caterpillars now. It won't be long till they're all ready to start going into pupation. You can usually tell when this is going to happen. 1, because they've been eating absolutely loads, and on the 5th instar they're just making sure they eat plenty ready for the pupation process. And 2, they're absolutely huge. You can see here this one's pretty big. These caterpillars are mainly yellow, but you do occasionally get some that are brown, and as you can see they've got a slightly different pattern to them too. Absolutely gorgeous caterpillars. A question I've been asked a few times before is, will the brown caterpillar and the yellow caterpillar turn into the same moth? And the answer is yes, they do turn into the same moth. Another sign they're ready to pupate is this. As you can see, this other brown one here is walking around the bottom of his enclosure, because when they're ready to pupate they'll go hunting for a safe place to do so. These caterpillars like to dig underground when they're pupating, so when you see them going around the bottom of the enclosure like this, it's usually time to take them out and put them in a separate tub. One tip I'll say though is always make sure your net's closed properly, because there was one time I left the net slightly open, and these caterpillars are really fast when they're roaming like this. Luckily I kept my bedroom door shut so they couldn't go too far, but I did end up waking up one day and there was one on my bed with me, so there you go. This footage is sped up by 2 times, but honestly they are super fast even without it being sped up. Let's take a closer look at him before I show you what I put him in for the pupation process. These tubs from B&M, and I just washed them out with soapy water and dried them. I usually use cocoa fibre or bird nesting material, but this time around I'm going to try something different. I'm going to rip all this up and then I'm going to put it into the tub. Previously I've put air holes into these tubs. This time I'm not going to do that. I don't think it's necessary. Once you've put him into the little container, just make sure you put the lid on tightly, because he will roam around and he will push that lid off. And you'll find he'll be roaming around that little tub for quite a while until he finally settles and finds an area where he wants to pupate. The first time I started raising these caterpillars, I didn't realise they was going to be strong enough to push the lid on. And instead of putting the lid on fully, I'd left it ajar a little bit. And I was sat there and I could just hear this little noise. And I went over and checked on them, and one of them was just climbing out. So this time around, I always make sure them lids are tightly on. Once they're in the tub like this, put them on a shelf and just leave them for at least 2 weeks. I have a few more and I'm hoping that they all start going into pupation pretty quickly. I really do want them to breed and lay eggs, and so I have the opportunity to raise them again. The one at the top will be ready for pupation in a couple of days, I think. And I've also got another one that's just gone down. So fingers crossed we get at least 2 moths, a male and a female, that hatch at the same time. And I actually ordered a mystery bundle from Charlotte's Webs on Facebook, and look what came in it. This means I should have a total of 7 death-head hawk moths ready to hatch, which means the chances of getting a male and a female together are really good. I have 1 caterpillar left to pupate, but the rest have gone down, so let's take a look and see how they're getting on. This is after about a week. The caterpillars all went down at different times, so I'm just going to check through each one of them. I can't really see this one, so I'm not sure. This little guy's also got a little bit longer left, so I'm going to give him another few days and I'll come back and check on him again. It's been about 2 weeks now and I'm just going to check again. As you can see, this one's pupated, and what you can see next to him is his exoskeleton. I always think that little exoskeleton looks weird because it just looks like a shriveled up caterpillar. Let's just take a closer look at it. Over the next few weeks, the pupa will start to darken, and you should start being able to see through his pupa casing too as he prepares to hatch. I checked on the other caterpillars over the next few days and they all seem to have pupated successfully. So now what I want to do is take them all out and I'm going to put them into a pop-up net ready for them hatching. These should hatch between 4 and 6 weeks. It does all depend what temperature you keep them at. If the temperature's a little bit higher, they can hatch out a little bit sooner. These should be hatching in around a week's time, so don't forget to stick around. Thank you for watching it, and if you like our content, please subscribe. It means the world to us.